Hi there. So, before we get into today's episode, geez Louise, I want to just let you know I'm doing a free homeopathy masterclass on how to use homeopathy to up-level your emotional well-being, homeopathy to heal trauma, and it's Wednesday, the 4th of May, so next week, a week today. It's recorded if you can't make it live, but you have to sign up to get the recording. And it's going to be from 7:30 UK time. So hop on whenever you can, even if you can't get there exactly when it starts. Hop on whenever you can. It will be recorded because it's a free masterclass on how you can use homeopathy in your life. Homeopathy is super cheap, by the way. It's like £2, £3 for like a small vial of like 20 remedies or 20 treatments. So it's super cheap to help you to really become your best emotionally and on a mental well-being level. Especially we're going to look at trauma. So I think you guys are going to love it. So I'm going to put the link in the show notes, but you can also sign up by going to my Instagram at Flourish with Cassie, heading to the link in my bio, and that's how you can sign up. Alternatively, if you're really stuck and you're like, I can't find it in the show notes, I can't find you on Instagram, then email me hello@cassieaurora.com. I might not get back to you immediately, but I will get back to you. So join me. It's Wednesday the 4th of May, Homeopathy Masterclass for free. You're going to love it. And I'll see you there. Hi, welcome back to the podcast. It's been a while, but thank you for joining me today. You'll notice I don't have an intro track anymore. This is just because I'm trying to work out really what intro I'd have now that the business has changed so much and not so much at the same time. So I'm sitting in my new room. Alex has the office here. And so I kind of have the bedroom as my working space, but I feel good about that because it's really light and airy in here in the new house. Everything's kind of white with lots of like kind of pampas grass vibes, so I'm enjoying it. And by the way, I'm Cassie, anyone that's new to the podcast, and long story short, we were trying to move house for like 18 months and then it all fell through, so we're in rental for now. We have an 11-month-old baby girl who you might be hearing in the background. Hopefully not, but you might be because you know she's having a lunch now. She's with the nanny, who's amazing. But yeah, I kind of am coming back into the world after having Bonnie. I was not one of these mums that kind of like had a kind of few months off and then could come back to it. I'm a projector in human design, so it really wiped me out and had a huge kind of, those of you that have listened to previous episodes, challenge mentally, physically, with a lot of hormonal stuff, postpartum depression, which was a blessing in disguise because it helped me to heal a lot of deeper layers of myself that perhaps, you know, I was aware they were there, but maybe not ready to address or couldn't have addressed before Bonnie. And this kind of brings me to today's episodes of this wisdom of being in the female body, the female hormone cycle, as I move now towards more holistic health, so away from the astrology, which is important. You know me, I'm into the synergy of everything. We have to understand that it's the body, the mind, the spirit, and the environment that really inform our well-being. And if we can get all of these kind of four legs of the table, the environment, our minds, our bodies, our spirits or souls, in a healthy and good place, a fulfilled place, that they have everything they need, a place of nourishment, not depletion, not protection, not stress, then we can find health and maintain it. And all my life, you know, I've, from really the age of 15, well, maybe not 15, my first trauma, real big trauma that catapulted me, maybe the seeds were setting, you know, like my childhood, feeling, you know, very different. I was a very obese child, etc. But anyway, 15 was really the age that catapulted me into this new direction of understanding human health on a completely different level, especially female health, because that's something totally different that I think is very misunderstood. And if you're listening to this podcast episode, the chances are that you felt that you wanted to be more in touch with your menstrual cycle, because part of you knows there's wisdom there. B, your menstrual cycle is probably not in a great place, in the sense that you're struggling with it, and that would signify to me there's some sort of abnormality going on in the mind, in the body, maybe even in the environment, or even something within your spirit that's not quite happy. And C, it's a sign that you could benefit from tapping deeper into the wisdom of your menstrual cycle. Women are these amazing cyclical beings, and we're going to talk about that today, and some homeopathic remedies and some of the things that are very physical that can help you. So these are things that you can take away, tangible things that will really, really help you. And I won't include everything, because obviously you are a unique individual, and the kind of care and support that you need to thrive physically, mentally, as a woman, and to come into your magnificence will be completely different to another woman, and definitely different to a man, and definitely different to a child. What you need is completely different. So if you feel like, I am going to put these things into practice that I talk about in today's episode, but you think, I really feel a resonance here to go deeper and really get to the root of what's stopping you from feeling vital energy and feeling well and feeling at peace and feeling confident in your life, in your body, in all aspects, and you really want to become more of yourself and become the best version of yourself, it would probably be a good idea to reach out to me, and while I've got one-to-one coaching spots available, because I can really work with you on a one-to-one level there, and it's much more immersive, it's much more beneficial. You can absolutely with that one-to-one level of support get where you want to get quicker and not waste so much time. I remember in my journey I listened to so many health podcasts, so many articles I read and so many people I followed, but until I got one-to-one support, I could really never truly change. So if you're like, what, actually I'm ready to invest in myself, I want to feel well, I want to thrive, then perhaps reach out to me. You can do that. Just drop me an email. That's probably the best thing, because it's the quickest way to get me, or message me on Instagram. My email is hello@cassieaurora.com, and right now I have one-to-one packages open. I'm not about a quick fix. I'm not about selling you an idea, but what I will offer you is substance, support, a very nourishing container where I'm here for you. It includes Reiki, one-to-one sessions, body work, nutritional recommendations, and of course homeopathy, and lots of deep relaxation to get you aware of your inner stuff and the old stuff that is maybe holding you back. So I genuinely believe the women that have worked with me are all in a position where they still regularly come back to me and thank me for what they did. And a true coach and a true healer doesn't make you dependent, so it's not like you'll be working with me for years on end. They kind of reflect back to you, and for me it's like, I don't want you dependent on me. I want you to realize and have the tools at your own disposal, so that you are able to make the right choice for you, because you know the tools that get you to understand what it is you need. I may be in my Soul Gym membership have this video, and if you work with me you get access to that, but it's called The Story of Health, and it breaks down these 4 aspects: mind, body, emotion and spirit in real detail, so you can understand why mental health, physical health problems actually occur, so you can get yourself out of it. It's an amazing model that I learnt from my Reach practitioner training, so yeah, my psychotherapy training, so it's invaluable. And so I'm a homeopathy student now, so you can get that as well. I'll be qualified this time next year. Pardon me. So I'm doing that fast track and I absolutely love it. I can make a cute recommendation. So if anyone in your house comes down with cough, cold, flu, you can reach out to me. I'm definitely help you by recommending a remedy. So let's get into it. It's your female cycle. We could spend hours on this, so I want to try and condense it down to one podcast episode. But your female cycle, and when I say cycle, I mean your menstrual cycle or moon cycle, whatever you want to call it, is one of the most telling things about you as a woman. A lot of women who come to menopause and have real issues walking through that path are usually the women that have not used the wisdom of their female cycle, or noticed their symptoms of their cycle enough or been aware enough to actually do the physical, emotional, spiritual work that needs to be done for them to transition through that phase easily. So I won't talk to menopause because I haven't been through it, but it's something I see a lot with clients, and it's something that we see a lot as homeopaths in clinic. So when it comes to your cycle, it comes by every 28 days. There's 14 days of what I like to call yang energy, or that forward moving, outward, active energy. And then 14 days, roughly, of yin. That's assuming your cycle is 28 days. So when your period starts, that's day one of your cycle. Sorry if I'm patronizing some of you. I'm just giving it for those that may not know. And this is where we begin the bleed. And our hormones are starting to build over the next 14 days. And this is the yang phase where our energy is building. We're feeling really good up until ovulation, usually through ovulation. And that period of time is a yang time. We're active. We can do more. We can serve others. We can be more assertive. We can be more physical. We can plant seeds and start projects then. In the sense that you say you're fertile, you really are. So you're kind of planting the seeds. And that phase of your cycle is spring. So you're in spring as your hormones are rising. And then summer is ovulation, where, you're at the hottest, highest, most vibrant point. And then from that point, you then either, if you are trying to conceive, you will obviously have a fertilized egg at that point. But still, the hormone that starts to take over is progesterone. And this is the yin phase. So from ovulation down to your period, so your monthly bleed, all through your luteal phase, progesterone is the dominant hormone. And either you will be able to, the fertilized egg, if you're pregnant, will hopefully implant. Hopefully you'll have enough progesterone and a thick enough uterine lining for the pregnancy to take hold. Or if not, if that's not the case, you are preparing for your monthly bleed. And in this phase, you're in yin. So it's autumn phase where the leaves are dropping off the trees and there's this inward turning. And then winter where everything is still and there's some sort of what appears a stasis. Everything seems very still. You feel tired. You're turning inward. And yet everything is changing under the surface. And in this phase, it's really the phase for relaxing, turning inward, slowing down. It's the most clairvoyant phase, the most intuitive phase. And so when you're in that phase, it's the time where you get the most wisdom. It's the time where you can access deep trauma, especially on your bleed. You can access those things that are holding you back. And what's interesting is in the luteal phase with PMS, there is some physical attributes to PMS, such as, estrogen dominance. Maybe your progesterone needs a boost. Maybe you've overdone it that month. Maybe you're under eating. Maybe you're under stress. But all of those things are leading to hormonal imbalance, which makes the luteal phase that before period time PMS, or some people get premenstrual depression really, really bad. And I went through that postpartum, definitely, but I used to have quite bad PMS as well. And some people have it very severely. But the things that come up in that period are telling you everything you need to know about your health in general. So we're in this phase of PMS, and let's say we have estrogen dominance. So our progesterone is low, we don't produce enough of it because the hormones, say that you're stressed, the hormones that are responsible for building stress hormones to respond to stress or the perceived stress of outside world, they're also responsible for progesterone. If they all get used up on stress, there's not any left for progesterone. So progesterone is low, and then our premenstrual time is difficult. It also makes it harder for us to conceive, but that's another story. There's a lot more to it. And premenstrually, you'll feel rubbish. So you're like, I'm stressed. And you will have the lesson in the symptom. Your body gives you the symptom or the sign. How you feel is the symptom. What your body does is the sign. Okay, something's wrong. So it's like a red flag. Say that your premenstrual time is really difficult and you haven't eaten well. You've eaten lots of processed foods or non-organic foods. It doesn't mean that everyone has to be organic. Don't panic here. Just things like meats or, berries, things like that need to be a bit more organic. Or maybe you've had lots of inflammatory oils, rapeseed oil, sunflower oil. These are things that will definitely cause inflammation in the body and cause problems premenstrually, because the body in that premenstrual phase is more prone to showing those cracks in your health, the inflammation, all of those things. So again, that's another way your body is showing you. If you slow down enough to reflect, rather than go, there's something wrong, and you feel like you can't fix it, chances are if you know the things that you need to do for good health, then you'll know why you've got PMS. So a few examples that you maybe want to think about on a body level, so a physical level. This might be that, again, you're eating a lot of processed oils. The best oils are butter, ghee, avocado oil, coconut oil, and some olive oil. In my opinion, these are the oils, and in most nutritionists that really know what they're doing, these are the oils that you should use, and don't be using things out of it. What's really outside of that, because what's really sad is like brands that are tailored to be healthy. A lot of vegan foods I would choose, but I will not put the oils that they use in my body because they are inflammatory. So just know that when these vegetable oils are like said to be healthy, or sunflower oils, they're literally in everything. It's depressing. So you want to try and avoid those as much as you can, and move or gravitate more towards butter, ghee, and these are amazing for you, by the way. Diet culture won't have you believe that, but they are. So then other things, stress. We already talked about why stress is the biggest one. Women are never given the time to be in that yin, self-nurturing, slowing down phase. The world is tailored to it. The world is not cyclical. Everything is 100% all the time, fast. We live in an estrogen dominant world. Other things like having a poor gut biome is a big one. Hormone replacement. So if you are on any hormone replacement, that's a big one. Obviously, I'm going back to the gut. For example, if you have bloating, bad digestion, trumps IBS, then 100% you need to look at your gut. This is something we can address with homeopathy and in sessions, but it's like the number one place to start for everything, in my opinion. Let me think. I didn't write it down, like everything that contributes to PMS. A big one that I notice is, and again, this layers in, but if you're not living in alignment with what's right for you, watch your body start to tell you. And premenstrually, your body is telling you those things big time. So for example, if you're working a job that doesn't suit you, but you feel, not confident enough to change, etc., you're going to have trouble. So that's just an example of where if you're feeling unfulfilled every day, your heart doesn't feel full, you're feeling miserable, imagine those hormones running around your body. They're not feel-good hormones. And your body is this emotional machine, and it knows there's something called the reciprocal tension membrane that runs through your whole body. It's completely emotional. It remembers every feeling. So if the feeling is, I'm not worthy of my dream career, I don't have enough, I don't feel enough, I'm ugly, I'm horrible, I'm not good enough, nobody loves me, because of some trauma in the past, or I am not safe, could be one. Imagine that level of residual stress going on unconsciously in your body. How is your body going to slow down and feel safe doing it? It's just not. And so these sorts of things do affect your body. It's not rocket science, but your doctor would never suggest that. They'll probably just give you the pill. So there's that going on. So premenstrually, your cycle is teaching you everything you need to know. If that time of your cycle is like, yes, your energy is going to dip, but if you feel like you're crazy, irritable, you feel horrendous, you bloat so bad, and you're like, you hate when your period comes because it's such a bad time, this is definitely telling you that you must address your well-being, because it's not going to go away and it's not going to get better. So if you respect yourself enough, maybe start to think about that. So I'm going to talk about some homeopathic remedies, but I'm also going to just talk a little bit about cycle charting. And this isn't like charting in the sense of natural cycles where you take your temperature and chart what it was. This is like buying a really nice notebook and knowing what day of your cycle you're on. Maybe even write down, where the moon was that day or something. But like, this is something I learned off one of my homeopathic teachers that she does, and I've done it for years. And it's to know where you are in the cycle and notice what themes come up for you. It's like journaling for each day of your cycle, but aligning it with what's going on. And after a month or so, you will collate evidence like, so for me, when I'm ovulating, obviously, your libido goes up. This is quite common. But actually for me, some months, the energy is overwhelming. I actually feel quite angry and irritable. And that's a good signpost to tell me that I haven't rested enough in my menstrual phase. Because the menstrual phase is when we're really meant to rest and recuperate, just like winter. Or you might notice that premenstrually, you're angry and resentful of your partner. And this would point, to a number of things that you need more support. But also there's remedies you can take for that homeopathically. So before I go on to remedies, a few supplements that are great. And of course, I am not a nutritionist. I'm not diagnosing. I'm not telling you what to do. Same for this whole episode. Magnesium glycinate. Not any other type of magnesium. Most types of magnesium just kind of wash through. So magnesium glycinate with your evening meal, maybe with your lunch, but your evening meal is ideal. This is a supplement I believe that most women, every woman should have. You could take 4 or 5. Trust me, in this world, you can't take too many, I don't think. Magnesium is the antidote to stress. It will help you sleep better. It will massively change your periods like you cannot believe. If there was only one thing you took from today, magnesium glycinate. Go and get it. I have the pure encapsulations one. You can get it on Amazon, but make sure it's like pure encapsulations, because I know that's a reputable brand. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. So there's that one. Taking a good probiotic such as Megaspore, that will help you. There are a lot of probiotics. Please don't waste your money on any old one. Get a spore-based one. This will really help you to get the feel-good hormones from the gut, help you to absorb the nutrients from your food, because if you're not absorbing anything from your food because your gut's so much in a mess and your bacteria is off, then how do you expect to feel good? The gut and the brain are linked. The gut is responsible for serotonin. But also, if you're nutritionally deficient, then you definitely can't expect to feel good because you're not balanced with your minerals. Another one that people rave about for progesterone, which you can look at yourself, I haven't done this, but I did as part of one of our protocols, and that's vitamin D. In my opinion, most people that are low in vitamin D actually have a problem with vitamin K. So because vitamin K is to do with vitamin D and calcium absorption. So I would err on the side of caution there, because you'll hear different practitioners say different things. Some will say take high dose vitamin D3. Some will say don't take it at all. I would say err on the side of caution and seek professional help if you're not sure. A lot of the times, nutritionists are against this, but I do think a whole food multivitamin really covers all your bases. I also think that a healthy diet is never fully sufficient, just given that the soil's so depleted now in modern farming. So if you can get organic farming, but it's a lot more expensive. So when it comes to that, I would say I love the doTERRA Lifelong Vitality supplement. If you are not sure and you're like can't really find a supplement that you think you're sure about, I would go for that one. But when it comes to those, I would say err on the side of caution. As long as it's a whole food one, the better thing you can do is eat 3 good meals a day with snacks of proper food. And by that, I mean carbs, protein, fats. Vegetables are great, especially cruciferous vegetables, because those are things like broccolis, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, because they do mop up a lot of excess estrogen. So again, that estrogen loving world we live in, which we want estrogen but not too much, they are good to add in. But I'm not an advocate of like filling your plate with veggies. I think that's just some diet culture rubbish. I actually think that the things that cause obesity are more to do with toxins, mindset, lack of movement. I don't think you can overeat whole foods, personally. But we'll get to that another time, because anything that's like fill your plate with veggies, I'm like, oh great, terrible. So maybe don't. But a serving of veggies is always good for fiber and to mop up that extra estrogen. So I'm not a dietitian, but you should be having carbs at every meal. They are the building blocks. Like, women need carbs. Like, I cannot stress this enough. I went for years without carbs, and I'm still the same weight now, and I eat loads of carbs and loads of dark chocolate and loads of beef. I was vegan for a long time. That did nothing for my health. That's not to say I wouldn't want to be vegan now. The only meat I eat is beef. I hate chicken, I hate lamb, I hate venison, I hate fish. I really love cheese, eggs and beef. So that's what I eat lots of. But I cannot stress enough how much you have to eat as a woman. Good quality food. Not diet foods, not reduced fat. Just get the full fat. And if you're worried about your weight, that is so much more likely to do with hormonal issues, which will keep happening unless you eat correctly. And weight can also to be doing with mindset, heavy metal toxicity, energetics. There is so much more to it, and we see it just as, oh, you eat too many calories. It is not like that. It is and it isn't, but it isn't really. And I'm going to leave it there, because metabolism is a whole other story. So you need to eat carbs, protein, fats, and lots of carbs, usually. You'll find your own sweet spot, to be fair, but just, I know most of you listening to this will probably be scared of carbs, because no, carbs before marbs and all that rubbish. It's just utter rubbish. Carbs, proteins, fats. Okay, so nutrition and supplements will cover that material body sustenance that's needed. But then beyond that, there's the energetics. Your body has the vital force. So the vital force being that innate intelligence behind all the bodily processes. What powers that unconscious momentum that the body does? that vital force that is intrinsic in everything. It's like this, Hahnemann calls it this spirit-like force. You know it's there, it's in everything living. And you have your own unique bodily one, and that's functioning in a certain way. And depending on your vitality and depending on what's going on for you, depends how that vital force is functioning. You've only got so much of it. So if your vital force is functioning in a way that's deranged, which is meaning you're irritable, you're bloated, it's like attacking your own immune system, so you're inflamed, it's causing bloating, then we would say the vital force is deranged. But it's a dynamic force and it can be changed. Homeopathy works on the level of the vital force. So it's not, it's absolutely not something that is like a supplement. Supplements are very material. They are a material thing. Homeopathy is on another vibration, and it's very powerful. It's potentized medicine. So homeopathy, I'm going to talk about a few remedies, but please remember that you are unique, and the only way to truly get to the bottom of what's powering your problems is by working with someone one-to-one. You can work with me. There are other people. So I want to talk a little bit about the HPV jib jab that you get in school. So if you've had that Gardasil, this is one of the things that I just want to point out, that for me, when you get these, they have side effects. One of the most common side effects is eating disorders, but there's a lot of others. There is so much you can read about this, and I truly think it affects our menstrual cycle in a really negative way. I actually went through a HPV detox protocol. You can use this in homeopathy. So any jib jab you've ever had, any medication you ever had with homeopathy, there is something we use called topography, which reverses the effects of that and detoxes the body from it. So when I did the HPV one, my skin was like eruptive acne because I think it was all coming out through my skin. I had to support my liver a lot with that. It was intense, but it made me see like how much junk was inside, even though I felt pretty good. But at the same time, simultaneously, I lost a lot of my pathology that had started around the age that I had that. So for some of you, if you want to go deeper into this and you know that maybe that's had something to do with your menstrual cycle or your hormones or your well-being in general, then that would not be something I would recommend doing alone. You would need to do that with a practitioner. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a few of my favourite remedies, but these are not all of them. There are a lot, but these are my favourites. So the first one I'm going to talk about is called lachesis. This is snake venom. Obviously none of these are actually poisonous because they're diluted to the point where they're past Avogadro's limit. There's no material substance in there. There's not even a molecule of this thing in there. But it works. Lachesis. So lachesis are very loquacious, so they're very talkative. I'm a lachesis, so they're very talkative. They're very kind of like, they can be the life and soul of the party. They're very intense. They need to communicate. They need to move physically and mentally. They are very loving towards their partner in particular, particularly their husband. Often they feel more connected to their partner than they do their children. They're not dependent, but they like the intimacy and the sex that comes with partnership. Sometimes a lachesis, has even had their dad leave them in earlier life, and this leads to a lachesis state. So this feeling that they may be forsaken, or left by their partner. And there are other remedies like this, but this is just a kind of colour. They tend to feel better for any discharge. So with the lachesis, they kind of get PMS, and their PMS is headaches, flushing, surges of heat. But the big thing is this irritability. The other big thing is suspicion and jealousy, especially towards their partner. They don't want to feel that way, but they do. And what comes with it is a venomous tongue. They can say something really venomous. I say I'm a lachesis. I feel the jealousy arising. I feel the venom of me wanting to say something really cutting and nasty that I know could hurt someone. I don't do it, but it's just something that arises in me, and I think, oh God, that is not nice. But that is the lachesis state. So they may say things they regret, and afterwards, the minute their period comes, they say, oh, I'm so sorry, I love you anyway, or whatever. So this is the thing about the lachesis. They're better for any discharge. So even if they might have nosebleeds, but the moment that first drop of blood comes, relief, new person. And that is the lachesis state. But the irritability, the intense need to be venomous, is really a lachesis feature. So you might want to get yourself some lachesis if you're thinking, yes, that's me, an experiment that may alleviate your suffering. The other one I want to talk about is sepia. So sepia, the picture of a healthy kind of sepia type person, usually a woman, is an intellectual, independent woman. This is a big remedy for me as well. Often, as well, the sepia picture is a postnatal depression remedy. So they go from being an independent woman to suddenly feeling bedraggled, drudge, and they are dragged down because their partner goes out, but they are just all about the baby, and they don't find any intellectual stimulation in that for them. They often feel that they have lost themselves, and then they become resentful of their partner. So that's something else, but it's worth mentioning. But with PMS, they become so irritable. They're like angry, irritable, and they have poor circulation, and they tend to have a lot of mood swings, really towards more the depression. But the thing about sepia is they tend to be better for, they need time alone. And the one thing is better for movement, especially dancing. So this really helps them. They can be resentful, and this can lead to anger. So it's different state, but they can kind of feel down, dragged down. And the big thing about the sepia period is that they feel that bearing down pain. I don't know if you've ever given birth, that feeling that everything's bearing down as if you're about to give birth or, take a poo. It's that feeling, and they get that bearing down pain in their period. This is a big pelvic remedy, big remedy for PMS. There's lots of other things as well, but yeah, a big remedy for postnatal depression as well. I'm going to talk about pulsatilla now. So, the last one was sepia. So sepia. It's actually from the cuttlefish. It's like squidding type thing. Pulsatilla. So pulsatilla is really good for any time of hormonal change. Often, girls who've recently started their period, so maybe you've had, no period for years, and then you get one, but it's big for periods of change. They tend to be changeable. Everything is changeable. Their mood, their bowel movements, everything. They tend to have PMS, which is irritable, moody, but very weepy. They're the weepy, clingy. They tend to cling. They want a lot of attention. They want a shoulder to cry on. They are dependent. They need someone to talk to. They want sympathy, and that's very different. They might have a suppressed menstrual flow sometimes, or if it's delayed or it's not happening, they tend to get nausea. They feel faint, and very sick. So it's another remedy for morning sickness, strangely, but it's a big one for the hormones. Pulsatilla, if they're too warm in a stuffy room, they just feel worse. They need fresh air. They like to get out and about in the fresh air. They're often running more hot than others. But even the menstrual flow itself, how long it is, the amount that comes out, all of that is changeable. So this is a good remedy for if it's like you can't really pin down what it is. So pulsatilla, there's lots more things to that remedy. They tend to also have problems with fatty foods, rich foods. They tend not to do well with them, even though they tend to want them. So yeah. Another big one, I'm just trying to keep it down to like 3 or 4. Okay. Let's do lycopodium. So lycopodium, they are the women that get the mad cravings and the ravenous appetite before their period. It can be that they have like a bulimic tendency. So I'm just putting that out there, even that's a different topic altogether. They tend to have a lot of bloating, flatulence, and their energy really dips about 4 p.m. usually is the time. Their periods can be delayed, and then when it comes, can be a really, really, really heavy flow that goes on for, longer than it needs to. Tend to be the type of woman that really lacks self-confidence, and it comes out in a way that she likes to boss others around and shove others around. Weird thing about lycopodiums, they don't want to be alone, but they do want to be alone. So they like to be alone, but with someone in the house. And if you ever ask a lycopodium, what is it you're afraid of? They'll say, I'm scared of ghosts. Or if you think, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think of like there's going to be a ghost or something? And they say, actually, yeah, I do. So that's a really quite a strong trait for lycopodium. So that's another good remedy. By the way, you will probably resonate with a lot of these remedies, even though, because they're all in us, but doesn't mean you need to take them all. You can experiment. Let's do one more. I am going to do Natrum Mur. Now, this is one of these remedies, Natrum Muriaticum, which everyone goes, oh, don't always prescribe that, but I do think it's a great remedy. It's the rock. It's the person that hides away alone. They're reserved, but they're very emotional inside. They're a bit like calm, like a sea that's calm on the top, but raging currents inside. They do not like sympathy. They do not want consolation. They may feel very sad and lonely within, but they don't want consolation. And it's not like people say that they get affronted. I don't think it's that. I could be wrong. It's like, just don't go there because I don't want to cry. They are generally sad and depressed, and there are times when there is a call for this remedy. Delayed grief that we never felt, what we won't let ourselves feel. And often they're people that have held on to things for years. There's a holding on. So no surprise here, they're a constipated remedy. Their period can be delayed, but then when it comes, they tend to get the diarrhea, or they can actually go to the toilet. So it's a common remedy. Their period kind of menstrual problems can come with migraines and backache, and they like to have pressure or lie against something hard where the pain is. They tend to have cravings for salt, salty things, so crisps, for example. Bombay mix was mine when I was in a Natrum Mur state. They have a strong thirst, but they do feel worse from being in the sun. If it's a sunny day and everyone's like, woo, they're just like, oh, actually, I'd rather just stay inside. This is a Natrum Mur state. Yeah, and they tend to cry with music, so they feel like music is the thing that can help them kind of relax. So there are some others for like, things like I call them ass daggers. I don't actually know what they're called. That's really bad. Where you get the stabbing pains in your bumhole or your vagina before your period. So I might have to check what they're called. There are remedies for that as well. But they're different, and you would only want to use them if they were strongly indicated. But use these, especially sepia. Sepia I used to get ass daggers quite bad. Didn't get it since I went on quite a strong sepia protocol. So there you go. I always have to lower the tone, don't I, after some like intellectual podcast and start talking about ass daggers. Anyway, so I think that's all I have to say today about that. I hope that you have got something from this episode. Like I say, the menstrual cycle is so powerful. So I hope you got a lot from this. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you feel that I can support you. My one-to-one coaching container is a 3 to 6 month container, and I guarantee you will feel so much better after. So you can feel confident, you can regain your health, you can, actually feel empowered to know what to do to keep yourself well forever. It's not just like a quick fix. So yeah. Anyway, over and out. If you need me, reach out on Instagram. If you like this episode, share it on Instagram at Flourished with Cassie, or email me hello@cassieaurora.com if you have any more questions. Please reach out to me if I can support you in any way. Otherwise, we will speak again soon.